Hey guys, I'm Alexa with Strategic Placement Group. Welcome to the SPG podcast. I'm here jamming into our awesome intro music created by our producer Conrad with Chad Connor. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am so good. Having a lot of fun with you this morning. We are here to talk with Chad about websites. What is the importance of having a website for a small business owner? So, Chad, do tell. Why are websites so important, especially with social media becoming so popular?
Well, for now, there's been a pandemic. I don't know if you heard.
Stan even mentioned that last time he was here.
Right.
Yeah.
So with the pandemic, people couldn't leave home. And so that was about the only way that you were going to get people to visit your business was with a website.
Very true. So people really need to think of their website as like their online store, even though you're not really even if you don't sell things on your website.
Sure.
It still is your storefront. Your
it is
digital
your
storefront.
Yeah. Most of the time, if someone's trying to find you or try to find out what it is that you do, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to pick up their mobile device. They're going to look for whatever it is you might do, and hopefully they're going to find you there. So it's kind of your digital billboard, so to speak.
Right.
And the goal is to get someone to your website.
Well, and I think it's important, too, to tell people that, the internet never sleeps.
Never.
Right? So, like you were saying, this digital storefront is constantly working for you, even though you're not at work.
Nope, you'll be home asleep, and someone is walking around looking in your store.
That's
Yep, trying to figure out what it is you do, what people think about what you've done for them.
right. Reviews. Very important.
Reviews. It's hard to have a business in this age without a website.
That's right. I like what you said about, even the reviews, because, people can do posts and whatnot about how much they like your business and social media, but then it just becomes, it rolls up in the news feed, it goes away.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have those testimonials, per se, on your website, that's credibility that is always with you.
Word of mouth.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the best advertising you can have is other people who have done business with you talking about how good a job you did or how good your product is or how good your service is. That's the best advertising you can get.
Right. So do you feel like your website and your social media can work together? What are ways that our small business owners can make those things work together for them?
Well, social media is good to, I guess, earn real estate in someone's mind.
Okay.
So it kind of keeps you front and center. And so if they find themselves in need of your product or your service, you want it so that you're the first person they think about.
Okay.
You can achieve that through social media to a large extent. You can also do that through all other forms of media, digital advertising, TV, radio. But social media is the simplest, least expensive way to kind of earn real estate in someone's mind. So when they find themselves in need of your service or product, you're the first person they think of.
Right.
Once you've earned that real estate, now people are somewhat comfortable with you. So now you want to have something where they can engage with the social media to actually get to your store or your website or whatever it is that you're wanting to showcase and learn more about what you do, learn more about what people think about what you do. It's just the way
That kind of works.
Way of the times.
Well, and I think that it's kind of like what Zach was telling us too when he was here talking about social media, that you can, sometimes when people find you on social media, they'll go to their website to see how credible they are. Because, not everybody has a credible business that is actually on social media. What do you think about that?
Well, absolutely. And the quality of your website matters too, just the same as the quality of your building that you have your business in or the parking lot or the front fascia. You put a lot of care and a lot of thought into how the building looks or how their flowers out or their sign out front. Is it clean?
Right.
It builds credibility. So if you just have a thrown together website just to introduce people, then you're basically saying, hey, look at my business.
Yeah.
really not all that great.
I kind of like it. It's not really all that great. I kind of like my business.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that's I love that point, because I don't think that as business owners we really think about that, because I think you get bogged down. Well, I mean, we're business partners here.
Sure.
We get bogged down in the business of what we do so much that
Right.
you kind of become the bot. You never really get to the top of your list as far as things. So it's really important to take care. And I love that analogy of, if your storefront is going to be nice and clean and have this nice aesthetic, you really need to transfer that over into your website.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like those things need to look similar?
Absolutely. Yeah. Consistency, whether it's a font or shapes or whatever you use for a logo, you want to try to keep that consistent. Because once again, it's that, earning a space in someone's mind to remember you. So the more they see that image or that shape or that font or whatever it may be, the more comfortable they're going to be with it. It's like you look at a Coca-Cola logo, for example. When I go to the grocery store and I buy a Coca-Cola, I know what I'm getting.
Right.
And if I don't see that Coca-Cola, I just see
Dr.
Coca-Cola
Thunder, yeah.
or whatever it is. I know,
Mountain lightning.
yes, that probably isn't going to be as good.
Yes.
So, yeah, and it's something as simple. You can see like a Coca-Cola font. I'll keep going back to that. And you recognize that font, even if it's saying something else other
Right.
than that. You recognize it. You recognize that shape or that swoosh wave thing that they have.
Right. And even the color.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, even if it's, a lot of grocery stores and stuff will sell Coca-Cola products
Right.
that aren't the beverage itself. So,
Absolutely.
yes, especially at Christmas time, I think you're right. It's in people's mind and their psyche, and they automatically, their brain puts that together.
Or a polar bear or a Norman Rockwell painting.
Right.
I mean, it's, that's marketing. That's how you do it.
That's right. So it really goes down to brand awareness.
Absolutely.
So really being consistent in your brand with your storefront, with your website, with your social media, because I feel like all those are working together.
Sure.
Right.
And they own real estate in our minds, everyone's mind. Now, of course, they're marketing to the whole world, but they have spent a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of effort going into their consistency with their marketing, so that we automatically recognize it. It's just it's not even really a thought in our minds. We see it, we know what it is. The end. Now, I'm not saying that every small business needs to do that, but it wouldn't hurt to follow those ideas and principles in marketing even your own small business.
Right. So when it comes to your website, do you feel like the website address is more important than a phone number? Or, I mean, if I'm putting signs out, I've just started a new business, I've got some signage in a few blocks away, I want people to know where we are, obviously, but do you feel like, the website address has kind of taken the place of the phone number, that they all still work together?
Yeah. So typically when we're marketing something, we do actually put the web address first.
Okay.
Because they can call you, but it would also be nice as a business owner that if you can spend less time explaining what you do to a client.
Very true.
So if you can get them to your website first, let your website explain what you're doing or what your service is, or, give them information and specifics about it, so that when they call you, they already know what you do. They already know, what other people think of what you do. So
Right.
now it's just a matter of how can we do it for you?
Right.
Or how can we offer you a product or whatever your business is.
Absolutely. So it goes back to that credibility.
Sure.
Again, this is something that anchors you in people's mind, and it makes you credible as a provider of whatever it is, the goods or
Absolutely.
services you are providing.
And imagine, if you were taking phone calls and you were just pretty much the person was just asking you, do you have this, or when are you available?
Right.
As
Where are you
opposed to,
at?
can you explain to me what you do? It's just easier on a business owner too to not have to explain that every time the phone rings, or it just makes it easier.
Right. Well, and again, it's something that you've paid for that's constantly working.
Absolutely.
For you.
And it's inexpensive. I mean, if you really look at it long term, it's far less expensive than repaving your parking lot or painting your building,
right,
or installing new furniture or anything like that. It's really not that expensive.
Right. Well, and again, it is. I don't think I've ever really thought about that before. That your website truly is working for you 24 hours a day. Because I mean, what do people do when maybe they can't sleep good, or they're at work really late, or we're constantly scrolling and looking
stuck
into
in
things,
the social media or YouTube loop, or
right?
we've
or
all
if you're
been
curious
there.
about something. I mean, for me, I'm a busy mom, and I like to, after I get the kids to sleep, use that time to, I really wanted to investigate this. I'm looking through, like I found a really great store for a possible Father's Day gift, so I wanted to go back and look at that store and see what they offer and see what my options were.
Absolutely.
So, and that store was not open at that time, but their website was working.
That's right. Yeah.
Very
you were
nice.
able to shop and never leave your couch.
That's right. That is also a benefit. When it comes to our small business owners getting started on a website, what are some tips we can give them to get themselves started? What are things that they really need to be aware of or watch out for? Or what do you think about, like, if I was coming to you, I've got a new business and I really want a website, what would you advise me?
Well, first and foremost, you want to go ahead and have an image of your company established, something. So you want to have a logo, you want to have a look that you're looking for, whether that's a color palette or a font or both.
Okay.
That's probably first and foremost. You want things to be consistent across all of the different areas of advertising and marketing, and that's what a website is. It's advertising and marketing. The other thing is photography of images and anything that's a visual presence on a website. You want it to be as good as it can be.
Right, good quality.
Yeah, so you don't want to use old cell phone pics or things like that on your website, because it cheapens it. It makes it look thrown together. It just doesn't look professional. So
even if somebody is updating their website, you would advise them to rephotograph their products or whatever their service images are if they look dated.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing is that you see a lot of people using filters, like Instagram filters and things like that, and that's fine. But if you're going to do that, be consistent with it. So if you're going to use a filter, use it throughout the site so everything looks consistent, looks the same. I don't know it lends credibility. It just looks more professional.
Right.
Yeah. So that's probably, as far as just the first steps to get started on a website, that's probably the most important there. Then it becomes, okay, what is the purpose of your website? Is it to explain what you do? Okay. Is it to
sell something?
To sell something?
Right.
Do you need e-commerce where you can actually sell stuff and ship it to people? Do you just want to present your inventory and then invite them in your store? There's all sorts of different options. And that may change over time also. You may want to start out with a website that just, we have several clients that started out with just, I just want to present stuff that we have and let them come in the store. And now they've moved on to a full e-commerce site where they're actually closing sales and shipping things out.
Stuff. Right.
Yeah.
That's nice. And I like that point of, just because you have products in your store and you want to have them on your website, you don't have to sell from your website.
No.
That you can still present everything that we have, because I feel like when you are selling, that's a whole different aspect in a website, isn't it?
It is. It's a different aspect. It's a different expense. You have to look at your profit margins and see if you have room for that, because there is a fee on a lot of. There's a fee usually for the e-commerce part of the website per item or per dollar, a certain percentage. Then there's a lot of times there's a fee for the actual transaction itself, to accept a credit card or a PayPal payment or an Apple Pay or whatever that may be. So there are fees involved, and a lot of people want to avoid those. If you have a product that really doesn't have a lot of margin, then you may want to step back and think about that. So yeah, and then also you have to remember that when you are selling products online, now you're competing with the big dogs.
Right.
Now you're competing with Amazon, or you're competing with Walmart,
stores,
or you're
sure.
competing with, there's so much competition for online sales out there. So unless you have a unique item that people aren't going to be able to find in any of those places, you want to consider, what are these items selling for, and can you be competitive? Do you have an edge that you can actually profit from it?
So one of the things Stan told us last time on our last episode was actually we were talking about media and whatnot, but and advertising, but starting. So you kind of feel like starting small. I feel like those things kind of also go along with with websites. So starting small, can you build on your website? I mean, if you start small in the beginning, can you build on it? Kind of like what he was saying with advertising.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, when you build a website, your primary goal is people can find you online. So when you start off with a website, you're not going to be at the very top of the search engine list. It takes time, unless you want to spend a fortune.
Right.
I mean, you can spend a ton of money and move your business to the top of the list. But odds are those go to the highest bidder, and you're probably not going to be able to outbid whoever your primary competition is.
Okay.
Because they're probably already spending more money than you if they've had a website for a while.
Right.
So the way we move you up that search engine list is basically how we build the site. We put things in the site that make the search engine see you, move you up the list, so then you start getting site traffic. And so as you build site traffic, the search engines recognize your site more and more, and eventually you can move yourself up the list, what we call organically, which means you're not spending any money.
Okay, right.
It's just your site is generating enough traffic that the search engine says, "Wow, this is a great site. We're going to push it up because we want our customers to see it."
Right, which is the benefit of having your website on everything that you do, right? Because when people see that web address, they're going to go search it, and so it makes it's kind of like the is it like the algorithm, like what Zach was telling us?
Yeah, it's an algorithm. And it's ever changing. So when building a site, it's not just as simple as, hey, I got a website, look at it, it looks really good. There's a lot of things going on the back side of the website and the code and things like that matter really more than how the site looks itself.
Right.
Because Google or Bing or any of the search engines, Google being the biggest one, that's what they look for. That's what they basically are rating your site based on all of those different parameters.
Right. The search performance, sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's really important to tell people too, because I feel like one thing small business owners don't understand is, they give a web designer all the material and the content and everything to put that website together, and they're like, okay, I need it next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
right.
It's kind of like there's so much more on the back end. It's not just putting all that content out there and making it look nice and clean and professional. There's so much on that back end that people don't even consider.
There is, and there's a lot of competition in websites too. There are a lot of companies out there that say, hey, you come to us, you sign this deal, for this amount a month or for $500, we'll build you a website.
Right. Or you can plug in your information and then it's just done.
Absolutely.
Right.
But the thing about that is, as quick as you get through building that website, now they're going to say, okay, now if you'll spend this much, we'll get you some traffic to that website. Okay.
Oh.
So I built the website for $500, but I'm not getting any traffic for that. And they say, well, no, you need to spend this or this or this. And now we will start sending you some traffic, and we'll start changing that code on the backside and doing all these different things that will generate traffic. And next thing you know, you're spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000.
Yeah,
just
your
trying to drive traffic.
Website budget just jumped.
And
lot.
So that's kind of a trick of the trade, I guess you could say.
It's kind of like the hook.
It is.
That's how they get you in.
And they're going to try to tie you into some sort of a big monthly fee now. They're going to guarantee, you're going to have this many visitors and you're going to have this. And that's all well and good. But if they're just sending you clicks because your advertising is showing up on all these different websites, or one of those things where you go through the picture slideshow and you accidentally click on the link, that's not good real estate in someone's mind that you want to be building. Now you're annoying those customers.
Right.
So the thing about it is you can build a website on Wix or something for $500. I hate to call one of them by name, but by the time you actually start getting traffic and get your website working for you, you're going to spend far more than that initial $500.
Wow. So it's really good to tell people at home to really investigate further what all that means. What are you really getting for your money?
Absolutely. And also, if you have a problem with your website, try calling them.
Oh, gosh, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Because, they are these big box, stores essentially. And if you can't get a hold of somebody to fix your stuff,
right,
then it's just, you're paying for something that's not working for
and
you.
odds are the person you're talking to has never seen your website before. So they have no idea anything about it by the time you get them on the phone to help you. So now they're going to have to go through and figure out, okay, how was it built? What was used where? With us, for example, when we build a website, odds are when you call, you're going to be talking to the guy that built it.
Right.
And he's going to know and understand everything that was done, everything that's been done. It's just better.
Right. Yeah. Right. So, and you're the top dog here, so they'll probably be talking to you. Yeah.
Yes. Life is good on top.
Hey. He spends so much time, ladies and gentlemen. He's so creative. I hate to, just put you too much there on the pedestal, but I'm a little biased because he's ours, but he does really, really great work.
Well, thank you.
Well, let's go back to the expense in a website. So, on the low end, we kind of talked about that $500 mark, but essentially, what is a realistic price point for business owners to consider when doing? Let's say you're just starting out, you're starting small. Right. Maybe you just want a landing page to send people to if you're doing any type of digital campaign or social media campaign. Yeah,
so a landing page is probably the most basic of a website. And all that really is a single page. It's just a web presence. Nothing fancy. It's going to be just a small amount of information. And the purpose for landing pages, what we mostly use them for, is something promotional.
Okay.
So if you have a sale or something, a service, a discount, whatever it is, a lot of times we might create just a separate landing page that is just specifically about that product or that price or that discount. So when someone clicks an ad online or visits a website or scans a QR code on the side of a truck or whatever it might be, they go straight to what it is that they're interested in, whatever that ad talks about. Okay. Because if any one of us that has ever engaged with an ad online, there's nothing more frustrating than seeing something you want, right, and then going there and then not being able to find it.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's a really good reason for a landing page. Now, we can also just do a landing page to start off with for just a basic website.
So is that okay, though? Is a landing page enough? Or would you need like a 3-page?
A lot of that depends on your business. If you don't have a lot of content for your business, let's say you mow yards. Okay. We'll just, mowing yards is pretty cut and dry. It's simple.
Literally.
You pay me this amount. I'm going to come make your grass shorter.
Okay.
That's how it works.
Right.
So it's hard to build a 10-page website explaining how you make people's grass shorter. So a landing page is probably fine for a business like that.
Okay.
And you're probably not going to have a huge budget to build this great big website anyway. But what you can do with that landing page for your grass mowing company is you can put something on the side of your truck that says, hey, look at me. I'm not some guy with a pickup truck that's just doing this, and sometimes I show up and sometimes I don't.
Right.
Here's my website.
Right.
Here's my social media link. Go check me out because I'm pretty legit.
Mm-hmm. It leads back to that credibility.
Yeah, and see what other people have said about how awesome I am at making your grass shorter.
Right.
So there's, that's a landing page type of thing, just a simple business that it's just straight to the point. Here I am. I have a website. Go look, see how legitimate I am so you are comfortable hiring me. and comfortable with me being in your yard doing your work.
Nice.
So
Nice. I love that because I guess I always think of smaller websites being more like 3 pages. So
Right.
I like that landing page can still be utilized for that's a perfect example.
perfect example.
I love that. So where do you build from there?
Okay, so you have a business that you're selling, a couple of different products or a couple of different services. We'll say we have a dentist office.
Okay.
Okay, we have we've built a couple of dental websites. Dentist office seems simple, but if you think about everything that a dentist offers,
There's so many services.
oh yeah, there's cosmetic stuff. There's just basic cleaning. There's maintenance, cavities,
There's-
crowns.
Right.
There's all sorts of different services. So for a dentist, they want to talk about everything that they offer, whether it's, some sort of special type of whitening or some sort of special type of anesthetic that makes it a better experience, or maybe their specialty is children or whatever that is.
Right.
They have a lot of different things that they want to talk about. So for a dentist office, though it seems like a pretty simple thing, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So there, we're probably going to have a 3 or 4 page website.
Right.
We're going to have a page that discusses each service that they offer.
Right.
And then you're going to have a page that discusses how qualified maybe the doctors are.
Absolutely. And if there's more than one doctor.
Right. You may have a page that talks about all the insurance you accept or different payment plans or all of those type of things. So that's what we would call, a medium-sized, simple business, but it still requires more explanation and more marketing to explain everything that they do.
Right. Right. Well, that's really awesome. So when you grow from there, so basically, if you are selling something online, do you think they need more than a 3-page, or does it really just depend on the inventory?
Yeah. So if you're selling something online, unless you're just selling one product,
right,
which that's probably not the case. Even, if you're selling one product, then, you're still probably going to sell some sort of an attachment or some sort of an accessory to go with it. So if you're doing a online e-commerce site is what we call it, where someone can actually purchase something on your website, there's a couple of different things you have to think about there. Number one being security.
Okay.
If you actually want someone to go to your website and enter their payment information or their bank account information or their personal information to make that purchase, your security has got to be top notch.
And is that, I would think make the site more expensive too.
It does, yeah. So the security certificates are different in what you have to buy. They also become more expensive because, as I was saying before, there's a lot more setup involved. If you want to integrate shipping or if you want to integrate the payment process, or there's a lot more integration for that. Keep track of inventory. Calculate taxes for different states that you ship to, that type of stuff. So there's a lot more involved in an e-commerce site versus just a plain, hey, look at me website.
Right.
And so that's where you start getting into a lot more specific things. We would have to spend a lot of time talking to you about exactly what it is that you're wanting to achieve. Because when you're spending that kind of, it's not an enormous amount of money, but when you're spending money like that,
right,
you also really, really, really need that site to perform. So now we need to talk about, okay, here's what it's gonna take to build the site. The photography's got to be top notch. Everything about it has got to be good if you're going to compete. And then how are we going to get it out in front of people in a way that's affordable, that you can still make money, but you can build traffic and build confidence and, start getting that word of mouth, people talking. And, we can advise on that through all sorts of different avenues, whether it's digital advertising, whether it's YouTube videos, how-to stuff that are people interacting with your product, just simple social media marketing. There's so many different options you have. And not to brag or anything, but that's kind of what we do here.
It is.
So we kind of
plug.
Yeah, we figure out who your ideal client is or who your ideal customer is.
Right, your audience, sure.
And then we figure out what is the most efficient, best way to get in front of them and actually introduce them to your product or your service.
Right. Well, so to wrap it all up, so you don't necessarily need to start big when creating your website. It's
Right.
okay to just have that presence. It's really important to remember that although websites can be pricey, this is something that is working for you around the clock if it is doing it well. And
Sure.
And it's also good to keep in mind to do your research if you are thinking about doing any of these platforms that we see advertised, and making sure that their customer service is really on your side and that you have access to them when you need them, because that's really important.
Sure, and really, if you think about it, when they're those type of companies, when they're selling you a website, they're not really selling you a website. What they're selling you is the marketing that comes after the website. That's the money they're really after. You see these companies that advertise, well, we'll build a website for free.
Right.
Okay, yes, absolutely they will, but they're going to have their logo plastered all over it. And you're going to figure out, well, I don't really want their logo
Right.
all over
It's not
my
really
website.
about me, it's about them.
So they go, oh, well,
Right.
we don't have to do that. You just give us $300 or $400 a month, and then we'll take our logo off. But hey, if you'll give us $500 or $600 a month, we'll also help you get your website in front of people. But look, if you'll give us $800 or $900 a month, we're going to put you close to the top. But hold on,
Oh, there's
if
more.
you give us $1,200 a month, we will make you at the very top of the list. Now, how much stuff have you got to sell
Yeah.
to cover $1,200 a month?
month.
Or how much service how many yards does this guy have to mow
Right.
in order to cover $1,200 a month for advertising?
But it was only supposed to be a free website.
It was a free website.
That's right.
Yeah. So, or you spend all this time making it, and then you're like, oh, God, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, you don't
it
get to
doesn't
keep
work.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Oh
you
my
lost
gosh, you don't
everything
get
you
to keep
already
it.
did. No, you don't own any of it. So, yeah, it all goes away.
Wow.
And you have not access to anything that you had already done or all the work you did. So, yeah, it's not a good way to go. And one other thing too, just before we wrap it up,
Absolutely.
is another thing you want to really think about when you're building a website or a landing page or an e-commerce site. One thing that has really changed over the past 3 or 4 years is who and how are they going to be visiting your website.
Okay.
So, the who is based on whatever product you're selling. You'll know kind of what your age group or your sex or whatever a
Right, your
person
demographic.
is. Yeah, your demographic. You're going to pretty much know that about your business. But what a lot of people don't realize is used to 3 or 4 years ago, it was about 25% of people that went to your website were using a mobile device or a tablet or something like that. Well, that has completely flipped on its end now. Probably 85-90% of people that visit your website are going to be doing it on a cell phone.
Right.
We've talked about this in previous series too. You
Absolutely.
go anywhere, everybody's looking at their cell phone.
It's evolved. So
Yeah.
websites have evolved. just
Websites
like
have
everything
evolved
else.
too.
Sure.
Yeah. So one thing that we have had to learn as a web design company is that really, if 85-90% of the people are seeing your site on a cell phone, then we need to spend 85 or 90% of our time making sure that the cell phone part of it works as well as everything
That's
else.
a very good point, because how many times have you looked up a website and been like, you're turning your phone
Sure.
and you're moving like
Well, the menu
I can't
drops
even-
down in
or
front
you're
of
having to
things.
slide way over
Yeah.
because it's not.
And that's very annoying.
Mobile-friendly.
And that's basically the same as, a fly buzzing around somebody's head when they walk into your business. It's very annoying,
Right.
and it becomes all you
Cute
can
analogy.
think about. You compare that to, okay, well, that's what this business is it's just irritating. I just want to get away from it. I'm going
Right.
to go look at something else. So, that's another big thing that a lot of people don't realize that. But if you think about it, how many times when you're looking for something online do you get up and go to your desktop computer and type in the web address
Right.
and take a look at it on a desktop?
Not
Not much
unless
anymore.
you're at work on your break.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on your break.
On your
Yeah,
break.
Yeah, because
That's
that's
right.
the only time.
That's right.
But yeah, so this is something else to think about. There's a lot to building a website. There's a lot to marketing a website. There's a lot to figuring out what the expense of a website is. And so you want to make sure that, one, you've got someone you can actually talk to that
Right.
really cares about your business. And two, one that you can call and actually talk to the same person.
Right, when
that
you're
can
having
actually
trouble with
figure
your
out,
website.
Yeah, that can figure out problems, whether that problem is something actually with the website, or that problem is you're not getting enough business, or the problem is you're getting too much business. I mean, there's all sorts of different reasons that it's nice to have someone that you can just pick up the phone and call.
Right, absolutely. And then the importance of asking those questions too
Mm-hmm.
when you're investigating creating your site. Well, Chad, you've given us so much really great information. Thank you so much. I had no idea how smart you were. I mean, I knew you were creative, but
Yeah.
I was impressed before.
Well, I figured out a long time ago that if you just try to act not so smart, then when you do something smart, people are really proud of you. Yeah.
It's
so,
working for you today,
Yeah,
my man.
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I really do. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope this has been helpful. As always, if you have questions, please feel free to call us, and we will put you in direct contact with our man, Chad, and he can help you out. We hope everybody has a blessed day, and like we always say,
Until next time.